By the end of this lesson, you will understand the importance of effective writing to get a job. You will learn the format and contents of a covering letter and understand how to write a good CV. You will also get familiar and learn to use effective words to grab the attention of the reader. The topics that are covered in this lesson are the letter of application, writing a cover letter, a few tips for writing an effective CV, and some effective words. An application for a job may be the first important business letter you will write when you graduate from a college or a university. There is stiff competition for any job, and a prospective employer will form his or her first impression about you from your application. A good application can be your key to set the wheel rolling towards finding a good job. Therefore, the application should be neatly typed, carefully worded, without any mistakes, and mailed in a clean envelope of the right size. The main goal for writing an application letter is to convince the employer to invite you for an interview. You have to sell your services. Therefore, the letter that you write should have all the qualities that are required for the sale of a visible product. As mentioned in the earlier lessons, it is important to keep the employer's point of view in mind while writing out the application. What sort of a person and what kind of experience and qualification is the employer looking for? In presenting your qualifications and achievements, you should highlight the traits that the employer is looking for. However, you must remember that no amount of presentation skills can secure you the job if you do not possess the required qualifications and experience. It is essential to be honest and sincere about yourself, which can be supported by documents.
The letter of application.
Before writing the actual letter, answer these questions.
What job are you applying for?
How did you find out about the job?
What are the employer's needs?
You can make a list.
How can you fill these needs?
Once you have gathered this information, you can write your application letter. There are two types of letters of application. In the first type, all information related to your qualifications, experience, and personal details are mentioned in the letter of application itself. The second type has two parts. The first part is the cover letter that contains reference to the advertisement in response to which you are applying and features your most significant qualifications for the job. The second part is referred to as a resume or a CV, which stands for curriculum vitae. This contains all your details, like your education qualifications, specialized training if any, experience and achievements, special honor and distinctions if any, special personal qualifications which make you suitable for the job, and the references, which may be the names and contact information of persons who can vouch for your achievements. The second type of letter is more effective.
Cover letter.
A cover letter should be included when sending your resume or CV for a possible interview. This letter of application serves the purpose of introducing you and highlighting your key strengths to attract the reviewer's attention to your resume. We will now look at how to write a cover letter. Let us begin with an example of a job advertisement. This example is taken from your reference reading books. It looks like this. You must first begin your cover letter by placing your address first, then add the date, followed by the address of the company you are writing to. You must always use the complete title and address. Do not abbreviate. Always make an effort to write directly to the person in charge of hiring.
Personnel manager.
Begin writing the main letter. The opening paragraph is where you introduce yourself and clearly state the job you are applying for.
Dear Mr. Desai, I am writing to you in response to your advertisement for a legal assistant specializing in corporate law, which appeared in the Hindustan Times on Sunday, June 15. As you can see from my enclosed resume, my experience and qualifications match this position's requirements.
The middle paragraphs provide the reader with plenty of reasons to invite you to an interview. This is when you talk briefly about your education, your work experience, your ability to work with others and or alone, interest in your field, interest in the company, and responsibilities that you held in previous positions.
I especially would like to point out that I graduated with top marks from the University of Kanpur and was hired directly upon graduation due to my expertise in corporate regulations. During the 4 years that I worked for Ram Das Company, I further deepened my knowledge of the fast changing regulatory laws of our state.
Use the closing paragraph to ensure action on the part of the reader. You can ask for an interview appointment time, stating that you will be happy to come to the employer's office when convenient. Make it easy for the reader to follow up by providing your telephone number and email address.
I look forward to an opportunity to personally discuss the position with you. My contact details are as follows: telephone number 011 2 555 2495. Email address myname@gmail.com.
Always sign the letters.
Major components of a CV.
Although there are no set rules for writing an effective CV, and you can decide the components that you think best represent your accomplishments, you should follow some basic guidelines when preparing your resume. Resume heading. This is at the top of the page. It can have the word resume at the center with your name, your address, telephone number, and email address on the left corner.
Objective.
Employers are interested in people who can clearly define their goals. It is believed that applicants with clear-cut goals show greater maturity to shoulder the responsibilities of a job. For example,
Objective. Responsible career position in marketing and sales. To be an effective manager of technologies.
educational qualifications. In this section, you will have to mention when you got your degrees, where you earned your degrees or diplomas, your field of specialization, some of the subjects that are relevant to this job.
For example, the subject nutritional biochemistry is relevant for a dietitian's job.
Your marks and grades. You may want to avoid mentioning your marks, especially if they are on the lower side. In such a case, you could just mention the class in which you passed. like second division. Many employers are more interested in your area of specialization, work experience, and activities than your marks. Marks matter if your work is related to academic activity like teaching, research, etc. Work experience. Write about any full-time or part-time job that you held. Even volunteer work is considered under work experience. You must give details about when you held the job, like the job title, the name of your employer, your responsibilities, and your accomplishments.
Activities and interests.
Apart from your work or studies, if you have been involved in other activities like being a student representative, a volunteer, and community service like organizing a blood donation camp, you should write about it in your resume. For most employers, activities shows an interest in people, which is considered a very good soft skill. Interests like reading, playing games, etc., also reveal a lot to an employer who is looking for balanced individuals.
Achievements.
If you have had very good marks, were elected as college president, did something significant in your summer job, like helping them raise money, or have similar accomplishments, they can be listed under achievements. Special skills. If you have a special skill needed for the job you are applying for, you must mention them. For example, if you are applying for a computer programmer's job, you can list out all the computer languages that you know and are confident of demonstrating in front of your potential employer.
A few tips for writing a good CV.
Your CV is a word picture of you. Its purpose is to interest the employer so that he or she can call you for an interview. If you use it only to boast about yourself, you will defeat the purpose for which you are creating it. Instead of telling about yourself, it is important to write about your skills, your knowledge, and the responsibilities you have carried in the past. Write out each CV to fit a particular job. This is very important. Be specific. Use numbers, dates, and names wherever necessary. Let the first information that you present be the most impressive or the most important to the job for which you are applying. This will help you to decide whether to put your experience first or your education. Use simple language and appropriate phrases. Arrange the body of your text to make it easily readable. Show your CV to others for their reactions before typing out the final copy. Proofread your CV carefully for grammar, spelling, and typographical errors. This is extremely important and should be done before sending it.
Student resume tips.
When writing your student resume, highlight your accomplishments like your projects, extracurricular activities like summer jobs, and any part-time experience that you may have had. Add a touch of your soft skills in your student resume that is required in all professional jobs. The ability to easily communicate with others, for example, your enjoyable activities like debates, theatre, etc., or that you like working with others. Leadership qualities, for example, you were the captain of the college cricket team. These would come under the category of soft skills. If you have managed money in your internships, part-time jobs, and extracurricular activities, you can specify them in your resume. For example,
managed a student organization budget of more than rupees 7,000. Introduced 17 student service improvement proposals as resident hall representative for student government.
similarly, if you are a science or engineering graduate and you participated in projects like developing working models of devices, you should write about it, especially your contribution to the project. The important thing to remember while writing a resume is to include as many activities that you had participated in or indulged in, both in college and the outside world. Since every recruiter is concerned about meeting deadlines, you must show how you can save time, make time, or manage time. A resume containing details of numerous extracurricular activities with a reasonably good score of at least 65% in exams will interest an employer as someone capable of multitasking. Let us now look at a sample student resume. This resume is in your reference reading book. Let us look at the different parts of this resume. For details of each section, please study this sample resume in your reference reading material. There is a list of suggested effective words in your reference reading material. Use it to identify those words that match your profile so you may use it in your resume. Let us now review what you have learnt today. In this lesson, you learned the importance of writing well to get a job. You also learned to use the format to write a good cover letter. The major components of a CV or the curriculum vitae was covered. A few tips to write a good CV and to use effective words to grab the attention of the reader were also some things that you learned. You may now use this time to read the reference reading material that goes with this lesson. Thank you.